Dear friends, we are still in the lockdown period, and the government is telling us every day how to take care of ourselves. And government officials are also almost confirming that this coronavirus is going to be there for a long time, and therefore have to learn to live with this virus for the days to come. And I am sure that education institutions and so on will not be opened that easily, because that we need to take utmost care from spreading the sickness and getting into a more hazardous and dangerous situation for our country. And therefore all of us cooperate, all of us share the same concern with the governments, and protect our country, protect our people, protect our children especially. And these days, when the coronavirus lockdown is going on and people are so concerned, we also hear some negative news. For example, one of the news recently came out which is disturbing for an educator is some students formed the social media platform as a group and started threatening their friends and putting up all kinds of morphed pictures and bad things, etc., etc. And that affects the reputation and the dignity of the people, especially their own companions. And what prompts these children of this age, especially the teenagers, moving towards the teenage and so on, so young boys and girls, what actually affects them to do such negative things in the society? And I think there are various reasons, and we need to understand one very important term called delinquency. You must have heard about juvenile delinquency. Juvenile delinquency was actually interpreted. What it is actually, the exponent of this theory is called Dr. Valentine. Valentine says delinquency means breaking of the law. So children who are breaking the law, they are behaving abnormally, they are turning towards antisocial elements, they are deviating from the good values to bad values, the hatred, killing, psychologically affected people, some of them are getting into kind of sexual pervertness, etc. Such children are called delinquent children. So there are various types of delinquency. So in my talk today with you, I will be talking about 5 types of delinquency according to Valentine and other scholars. The first delinquency can be seen in a particularly in an anxiety, in a atmosphere of fear, atmosphere of depression, etc., etc. These delinquency behaviors can increase more and more, and that is what we are witnessing today. Therefore, it is good that we parents and teachers reflecting over such a serious happenings in the society, and understanding the delinquency that can be found in our children. you know there are various reasons for delinquency. I have one talk, I have already mentioned about the society, about the family, about the schools, about the environment, etc. It really affects the children to be good or to be delinquent. Now delinquency can be seen 5 types. The first one is called benign delinquency. Benign delinquency means it's a crime from the point of view of the law and order situation, which is also a kind of children who are mentally weak, mental health, etc. Those who are weak in that area, they will do such behavior of law and order, breaking things or doing some hazardous things which are not so desirable for a parent to see their children doing, etc., etc. So such delinquency can be easily cured. What are the remedy? You have to give a proper conducive atmosphere at home and in the school. Conducive atmosphere for the children to grow like the seed. Every child is like a seed. Potentially the seed has a future tree. Similarly, potentially your child has a future successful person. That successful person has to be nurtured, like the seed has to be planted in a good soil, and then with nurturing, with manure, with moisture, with care, all kinds of things we have to give for the seed to actualize its potential. But every seed doesn't actually its potential, because this conducive atmosphere may be missing. Similarly, every child cannot achieve unless you give a proper atmosphere. So the benign delinquency can be cured only one way: give a conducive atmosphere. Conducive atmosphere for the child to reflect, to understand, to change, to transform. And for that one, you have to give better opportunities, and that is better environment. That's possible only at home first, and then in the school. Especially these days of lockdown period, at home your children are with you, so therefore it's your responsibility to see that they get a conducive atmosphere. That's the first point. Second is simple delinquency, they call as D, he calls. And it says it's a type of antisocial behavior which develops as a direct effect of bad environment. Again, for example, the companions are bad. What we are seeing all the time: killing, raping, lynching, and all kinds of negative things we are hearing. Corruption, for example. Every day the news, every day parents are talking, every day the discussions in the school, and so on, only negativity. Then what happens? The simple delinquency can be formed in a child without the knowledge of the child. It slowly gets into this simple delinquency, and it starts poking, it starts bullying, it starts attacking their own brothers and sisters, fights, etc. will start, and all kinds of antisocial behavior can be developed, this simple delinquency. Now, what is a cure? It's all we can help these children by desirable and moral behavior have to be taught. You have to tell the child, this is not desirable, this is not good, I don't want these things to be repeated, and morally this is right. You must tell the children, and this also happens at home. A third point is about reaction delinquency. How you must have seen some children always reacts. The society is so bad, environment is so bad, then what happens? The children also start reacting accordingly. These days we have this internet games and so on, is also making the children to be simply doing all kinds of harms. Anyway, so these reaction children, they always work against the society, working against the environment. Then they will be sad and gloomy. Mostly you can see these children will be victims of gloominess, sadness. Their face will not be happy. Okay, so what are the remedy? We must give them proper atmosphere, love, concern, encouragement, etc. That also possible through your words, your guidance, your spending time with the children, etc., will help. And this lockdown period, again, you had enough time, you have enough time. Please pay attention to this aspect in your homes. Third, the fourth one may be psychoneurotic delinquency. This is a very bit dangerous. This is created on account of the expression in an antisocial manner of the repressed tendencies. The repressed tendencies means, see, a lot of anger, suppressed feeling, sexual, what you call the suppressed feelings, etc., may come out. And this delinquency can be problematic if not treated. It can be treated easily, it can be cured easily through psychoanalysis. That is why we are saying every school needs a counselor, and the teachers, all of them are supposed to be barefoot counselors. They are supposed to be helping the students in guiding them and mentoring them. If there is a proper mentor is found for a child, such children can be easily overcome this psychoneurotic delinquency. And the fifth one is temperamental delinquency. Temperamental delinquency means, you must have seen some children always angry, what we call hyperactive, always reactive. They simply fight, they will hurt that. Have you seen some children cutting the vein, etc., through blades and so on? If there is passive anger, they get back to their rooms, close the doors, they will harm themselves, all kinds of things they can do. Such delinquency developed on account of malfunctioning of certain psychological activities. There is a kind of hidden suppressed feelings which every day, daily basis, they accumulated, and it comes out of the child. Such a delinquency can be cured through the treatment of psychological disorder. You must take the children to a counselor, and she or he will guide them. And finally, my dear parents, this delinquent behavior is seen in larger number today in our children. As I said, the reasons can be of societal problems, family problems. We also have issues of school. For example, schools also completely looking for only good marks and number one, etc., etc., and therefore what happens, money making attitude, etc., that as a result what happens, the quality of the discipline, that integral education, all round education, etc., etc., is slowly diminishing. That's why these things are happening. And secondly, our media, look at our media, look at our movies, look at our serials, etc., all the time they are putting up negative news, negative things. I sometimes I stopped watching news these days, because there is no news channels in India. According to me, only noise channels, shouting, yelling, attacking people, negative calamities spread against individuals. You call an individual and shout at them. So what happens, the children also thinks these are the normal things, and so on. Indirectly we are all making the atmosphere, the environment not so conducive for the children. And it is the duty of the parents and the duty of the educationists to bring back this normalcy, bring back the conducive atmosphere for the children to grow. And then the teenagers may be led to a kind of a what you call it, tranquility and peace to reflect, as William Wordsworth says, the poetry is a spontaneous overflow of the powerful emotions recollected in tranquility. That's a good poem, but this is also truth about life. If we are in silence, if we have tranquility, if we have peace of mind, we will get better reflections, and we will overcome one by one these difficulties faced by our children in our society. I am sure parents during this lockdown period, teachers during this lockdown period will pay special attention to these, and we will together collectively overcome such difficulties of our children and make them to lead properly for the future. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
You